Hey everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to an all new episode of Let's Stay Together. I am so excited to have my guest on the show today. Owen Joyner is the star of one of the hottest shows on Netflix right now, Julie and the Phantoms. And we have a great conversation in store for you today. So get comfortable, sit back, and let me grab my guest right now. Hang tight.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, of course.
So, Owen, I started the show back in March when COVID kind of shut the world down because I wanted people to have a place that they can come to every week for some joy and some hope and inspiration and to just have fun. And you bring all of that and more, so it's great to have you.
That's awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. And to all your fans who are watching, I have your questions. I got them all together, and I'm asking the most popular ones a bit later, so stay tuned. But man, we have a lot to get to, so I say we dive in.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So first off, a huge congrats to you on the success of Julie and the Phantoms. It has easily become one of the most binge-worthy shows on Netflix. I got DMs from people saying they watched the show 10, 20, 30 times during this time of quarantine. So it's really taken off, and for good reason. I assume most people here have watched the show and are big fans, but if anyone is new and about to watch it, how would you describe Julie and the Phantoms?
Yeah, I mean it's a band it's about a band from the 90s. Four guys trying to make it big, and on the big night of they're supposed to play for all these, record executives and studio executives and stuff like that. They go out and they try to get a snack and they die from eating a bunch of bad hot dogs. 20 years later, they poof into this garage. They don't know this girl. They scream, they freak out. And then it's basically just a story of their adventure trying to figure out their lives as new ghosts and why they appeared and what they're supposed to go into and even though they're ghosts, they still have the problems of normal teenagers, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. And you play Alex, one of the Phantoms. You play him brilliantly. How did the opportunity for you come up to join the show? What was that audition process like? And were you always in the mix for that role, or did you kind of try out for a few? Give me like the full backstory.
Yeah, I know a couple of the people in the cast went out for a couple of the roles, but when I had just I think, yeah. So I did a show called Night Squad, and we had just been canceled after season 2, and I was like 18 years old, and all my friends were going to college. All my friends back in Oklahoma were all going to college. So that was the point where I remember sitting in my apartment being like, oh crap, like I'm an adult now. If I'm going to be an actor, like this is it. Like I have to book another role. I'm 18 years old. So we got canceled right before pilot season. So, I mean, I think that was like the most anxious I'd ever been in my entire life. I was freaking out. I remember doing like 30, 40 takes for each like self-tape I was doing. And then, throwing up afterwards because I was worried I didn't do good enough or something. So I remember Dan and Dave, I worked with Nickelodeon for 6 years. So Dan and Dave had done the Thundermans, and my old bosses, Mark and Sean, who are all writers for Julie and the Phantoms, they were friends with Dan and Dave. So they called me up and they said, hey, there's this part. It's perfect for you. He's got a lot of comedy. He plays the drums. He sings. It's right down your alley. And it was kind of like a little miracle audition for me, during a time of like so much stress. I was so anxious, and it was kind of perfect. And I went in, I auditioned. I went to producers, and then I got a mix and match in a network callback. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And it's a testament to you that, they all wanted to work with you and thought of you. And obviously, you've built a good reputation in the business. People want to work with you, man.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, when you walked onto set that very first day, were you like, oh, this is going to be a huge show? Or when was that moment for you, if you had it?
I think the huge moment was when I was looking at the breakdown and it said Kenny Ortega. You kind of like, you read that and you're just kind of like, oh, like you have some faith in whatever project you're going out for, But I do remember the first day. I remember doing like music rehearsals before going out to Vancouver. Before we even started filming, we did like a 6 week, 8 week, intensive boot camp thing where we were learning our instruments. We were learning harmonies, learning the music, getting ready to record the album. And things just ran so much differently than I'd ever been exposed to before. Like any of my other shows that I had done, there always felt like, like naturally there's always like a little bit of friction or conflict between creative and then network, and they're trying to push their ideas and what they think is going to make a great show, and I never felt that friction, and I didn't know if that was Kenny's genius of him maybe hiding that stress from us and just letting us focus on getting what we needed to get for the show, but I never felt that. Like it always kind of surprised me every day. Like if we needed something, we always kind of had it. If we thought something was going to be good for the show, we wanted to try an idea, we could go ahead and try that. So that friction was never really there, which was kind of surprising to me and kind of let me relax and like, be nervous about the fact that I had to record an album.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys put in the work, that's for sure. I mean, all the preparation and the recordings, like you said, and then, of course, creating the show. I give you all a lot of credit. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And your character, Alex, he's a fan favorite. A lot of people say he's the glue that kind of holds the band and the group together. What are some of your favorite parts about getting to play that role?
Well, I really connected with the comedy. I remember reading the script before the auditions and really loving like how sarcastic he was and like kind of how quick on his feet he was. And that's kind of me in the friend group. I'm kind of like throwing little jabs here and there to everybody. So I was kind of able just to connect with that and then kind of like roll with that. And it wasn't until, and Alex is so nervous constantly all the time. And his friends are always making fun of him for it. And that's so me too, And I feel like that's what Kenny does. I feel like you go into audition for a part and he's sitting there and he's casting the actual, the characters. No one's really acting. So there's a lot that I connect with Alex on.
Yeah. People really like the sarcasm and comedic nature of that role a lot. And it's really cool, man. You play an openly gay character on the show, and it's the show's targeted to everyone, but especially a slightly younger audience, which I think the storyline is still a rarity, and we don't see it all the time. And I received so many messages from people saying that your character makes them feel seen and that they've never felt more represented in a show before seeing this one. So what does it mean to you to be able to be part of a storyline that means so much to so many?
Yeah, I mean, most of all, it's just kind of like, when you hear something like that, it's just kind of like a huge compliment, Yeah. It's kind of humbling and honestly honoring. That's so cool. And I've had people reach out to me and tell me stuff like that. And I never thought that I could have an impact, on someone's life like that. But it's just been really exciting. I remember talking to Kenny about, he came to me and told me that, the character was gay and I remember him saying, I want Alex I want his friends to be completely okay with who he is and whatever he decides to be. And his friends always have his back. And I don't want to make an episode about him having to tell his friends who he is. His friends always have his back. And I just thought that was always really cool. And I think that's what people like are kind of excited about the show about. It's like sometimes your given family isn't going to have your back. They're not going to be there for you, but that doesn't mean you're alone. You've got your chosen family, your family that is there and shows you every day that they're there to support you. And I think people kind of resonate with that, especially if they have their own, stories of struggle within their family that they can kind of relate to those friends they turn to,
Yeah. And I thought it was so cool how, I think it was episode 2, when your buddy just like brought up that you were gay. And it wasn't this huge.
Yeah, it was a throwout thing. I think that was kind of like relaxing to people, It's kind of comforting, Kenny always spoke on making it that's just him. that's just him, and it's not a big deal. And that was always exciting to us.
Yeah, for sure. And Alex and Willie, I feel like were pretty much the prominent relationship in the show, and people love that storyline so much. And I know you got to work with Boo Boo Stewart, and everything about that relationship is praised by every critic out there. How was working with Boo Boo and being part of that storyline as well?
Oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. I did some of the auditions for Willie and Alex, and so many great actors and stuff like that. But I mean, I think everyone kind of, as soon as Boo Boo came in, everyone was really excited, and they're like, "Oh, this is the kid." You know, of course. I mean, it's Boo Boo Stewart. Like, why wouldn't you want him to play the part? You know, and obviously, you know, I wanted him to play the part. There's not much acting there, so I was like, "Great, let's do it." And he was so cool, and he was a guest. He wasn't a guest, but he wasn't a series regular. So he wasn't out there with us in Vancouver the whole time, and we didn't see him for rehearsals beforehand. So I was a little nervous because I had never done any kind of, you know, I had like little love interests in shows, but I had never done something that was like, you know, there was some emotion behind. And so that was a little nerve wracking for me, but he was the coolest. And like, right when he landed, he texted me, he was like, "Hey, let's get to work. Like, I can come by, let's start running our lines," stuff like that. And I think we had like one of our biggest scenes the next day, and he just came and we ran the scene, and it was awesome. It was really comfortable.
Yeah, a lot of those scenes were a lot of fan favorite scenes. But you've had so many great scenes. When you look back at season one, what stands out to you? What were some of your favorites?
Favorite scene?
Tough question.
Yeah, that's so hard because honestly, like, I really, 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 really loved working with the boys every time, and Maddie. When I say the boys, I mean Maddie. Maddie's in there too. Sometimes I'll be like the boys, and in my head it's us four,
Yeah.
but people not realize I'm talking about Maddie too. And I love working with them because there's so many laughs. But Cheyenne Jackson is like so just cool to watch. He's so cool to watch. So I think one of my favorite scenes is the Hollywood Ghost Club, where he's doing The Other Side of Hollywood, and we're sitting on that table just jamming out. And that's literally what that was for a week. Like, we just sat on that table for a week and watched Cheyenne Jackson do his thing. And I loved that. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's a force. He's come on my show before too. He's such a talent,
Yeah.
and seeing you guys all together and interacting, I mean, it's a great cast.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then Nothing to Lose was cool too. Because we didn't have because there was little drum solo, like the drum solo, and then he has the guitar solo, and Jer had his little bass solo. We all got to kind of workshop that ourselves, because the idea for it came while we were still in rehearsals. So they're like, "Hey, you're gonna have little, drum solos here and there for Nothing to Lose," and we're like, "Hey, can we have a stab at it?" And they let us develop it with our like little coaches and stuff like that. So the the solos you hear, those are actually our solos that we came up with, which was fun.
That's so cool. It seems like you guys were very much a part of kind of the process of developing this and having input, and it seems very collaborative.
Yeah, that's huge for Kenny. That's like everything for Kenny is he would say every day, "You guys are my creative partners." It was very much not like there's our director kind of relationship. And even now we go and hang out with him, go on vacations with him. He's just the coolest. And being Owen Joyner from Norman, Oklahoma, you don't want to say, "Oh, Kenny Ortega, that's my friend." But that's what I want to say, because, that's how I feel in my heart, because he's so cool, and he's honestly just a friend. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And I know that there's a storyline that really hit home for you with your character. And you've talked about the anxiety aspect. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was just, he freaked out. He always freaks out, and especially when he doesn't have his entire mind around a concept. Alex freaks out, and being a ghost, I couldn't imagine what I would do with anxiety if I was a ghost. So it was just something that was kind of easy to figure out. The scenes were easy to figure out, and I've been dealing with anxiety my entire life since I was 13. So, and some of it has really gotten my way, you know, put big roadblocks, you know, in my career and potential for my career. So, it's something I've dealt with, and it was something I was able just to, you know, further that, like that connection with a character that you kind of want when you're playing them.
Yeah, yeah, and you talking about that, I know has helped a lot of your fans and made them feel less alone again, you know, for bringing that up. And a lot of people wouldn't talk about that, and I think
It's a
that's
little,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's a little nerve wracking to talk about. You know, it's a little, it's a scare. And it's not because, you know, especially we're so progressive now within our society, but it's still nerve wracking when you're the one sitting. You know, when you're the one wearing the shoes. It's a little nervous to be like, hey, I have anxiety. I can't go do this because it freaks me out. You don't want people to say, well, that's weird. You know,
Yeah.
you're still thinking about those things.
Well, it's amazing you bring that to the forefront of conversation, and for your viewers who might be going through their own anxiety, especially during this crazy year of 2020,
Yeah.
what kind of advice do you have to help them out during this weird time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm still figuring it out. And I didn't realize how, like, what an impact it had on me. You know, I didn't realize, and, you know, being an actor, to me, I have the best job in the world. You know, I'm doing what I love, but also we usually work, you know, 6 to 10 months out of the year, at least me, you know, not working all year long, trying to get as many jobs as I can, but, you know, 6 to 10 months a year. But now with COVID, you know, we're working a lot out in Vancouver and stuff like that. Well, I didn't realize, you know, you go into Vancouver to work. I'm the only one that can go. And I'm there for as long as I'm shooting. So if I'm going out there for 4 months to go film something, I'm in Vancouver, Canada for 4 months, and I'm not seeing anybody for 4 months. No one can come in to see you. You know, no one can leave. So it's taken a much bigger toll than I thought it would have. But I mean, advice. You know, I can just tell you what I did, and I just kind of got closer to my family and leaned on them,
Yeah.
and you know, I just kind of used them as my support, as you know, the same thing I've done when things freaked me out in the past. So I would say, um, lean on your family.
Yeah, no, I think that's super helpful for a lot of people. And to kind of tie in with the theme of the show, it could also be that chosen family you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that. I love that that's a part of the show. I think so many people might not necessarily feel close to their blood, but do have that chosen family. I mean, what does that message kind of mean to you? Why is it important to put that out there?
The chosen family. Well, I mean, just exactly, you know, what we were saying. I mean, sometimes, and I feel like when you're turned away from your given family, that's the hardest of all. You know, that's going to be the toughest thing of all. But we all need that support. We all need those people in our lives. And sometimes you want to sit there and say, stick it out and be like, hey, I can do it myself. You know, I've said that so many times in my life, be like, I don't need anybody. I can do it myself. And then I find myself in a worse situation a couple months down the line. You know, I've been ignoring my anxiety and the signs, and haven't been getting sleep and haven't been treating my body right. And then I'm in an awful, awful situation, you know, where some of my chosen family has been like, hey, maybe you should go to bed. You know, maybe you should take it easy. Maybe you should do this. So, you know, if your given family isn't there, listen to your chosen family.
Yeah,
That's why, you know, you always
yeah,
need support.
absolutely. And a lot of that chosen family, it seems like for you, is now your castmates, and it looks like you guys have no fun at all. I mean, you're always laughing together. I always see you all posting together. How is it
Yeah.
working with the rest of the cast? Is it as fun as it looks?
No, they're awesome. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said before, it's not work anymore. You know, it's just it's what you love and it's what you want to do. And even though you're getting into those, you know, 16, 17, 18-hour work days, it's still so much fun because you know, they've turned into my best friends for life. So, it's so much fun. We travel everywhere together. I think we just hit our, let's see, we went to Maui, which going to Maui is crazy. To get into Maui, you have to like present COVID tests and temperature checks and quarantine rule. It's absolutely crazy, but it's awesome because it's super safe there. But we just went to Maui, and then we went to New York together. We went to Las Vegas together. We went to Boca Raton for Jared's wedding together. So that's the fourth trip of the year,
wow.
that we got to share together. And I've done a lot of different projects in the past, and the cast are like my dear friends. But you know, when you meet your best friends, you know, it just kind of clicks. You kind of feel it, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with you. I'm gonna let you stick around for a little bit. That's kind of how I feel about them.
Yeah, I think that's part of the magic of the show. It's people can tell you all really get along and have fun. So it's fun to watch people who love each other having fun, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I would give that up to Kenny. Like, he creates such an environment that's so stress free where, you know, I think the first day of boot camp, he sat us down and he was like, this is going to be an environment where you're completely able and open to try new things, try different things, and not be embarrassed by that. So I think that work environment that he created kind of set us up to the same environment for our friendships where, you know, we're not embarrassed by, you know, different ideas, or if we want to try something, or even on set. So it kind of created a bond that, you know, that had a lot of trust in it, you know?
Yeah, no, he seems like an incredible leader, and I love that he kind of fostered that atmosphere for you all, and now you have lifetime friends, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool. I have to get to a few fan questions. I know the fans are waiting.
Amazing. Perfect.
And these are like the most asked questions. I received probably thousands, tens of thousands, but these were like the ones I saw the most of, so I kind of aggregated.
Okay. Yeah, you narrowed them down, especially because the comments aren't on. I bet that's tripping people out.
Well, I do that because I realize when I do these interviews, a lot of people end up not being able to see the person's face because the comments scroll.
Oh, they're going right over the...
all over the face. So a lot of people are like, hey, like we would have liked to see Owen. So
it would throw me off so much too. I would just be sitting here reading the little comments.
Yeah, this is a better format so people can hear everything. All right, the first question. Do you have a favorite musical number or song that was the most fun for you to film, and why?
Okay, I'm gonna make this quick, but there's three. I really loved Wake Up. I was there with my really good friend Mara while Maddie was filming it, and it was so beautiful, and the scene with the, you know, the lights coming up past the piano, and it's really gorgeous, and Madison sounds amazing. It was just a really cool moment. It was really early in the morning, and I was sitting there with her dad and Kenny, and we were just kind of watching this girl that had stumbled into this and was a great musician from the start, but had never acted in anything. And it was kind of the moment where we were like, oh, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. She's a good actor. She can do this, you know? So that's one of my favorite moments. I loved Love Now or Never. First musical scene we did with like actual lights from 95. They were baking us to death. We were sweating. It was awful. It was horrendous. But it was my favorite memory, probably one of my favorite memories in life. It was so nuts. And then Stand Tall, because, you know, it's the last song of the whole show, and it was also the last song we filmed, which is kind of sad. But one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people calling out those songs and numbers specifically. So I know a lot of people feel the same way. All right. Also, this question I saw a ton of. Did you take anything from the set that's representative of your character?
Okay, I gotta put on a hat. Look at this. I can't find a haircut anywhere.
Yeah, but at least you have good hair. It could be worse.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, if anyone has a good but look how much better this is. You know, okay, so I'm not supposed to say this, but I stole, do you know Alex's chain from the show? I totally stole it. And I stole it, and I didn't tell costumes, and they probably got in trouble, and I kind of feel bad. But what's even worse is that I was at the gym, and I like leaned over one of the benches, and it completely snapped.
Oh no!
Yeah, and I have to bring this back if there's a season 2. So, I shouldn't have put any of this on live, but that's okay. It's fine.
It's all right. Maybe you can Amazon a lookalike.
I'll fix it. It's okay.
That's awesome. That's a good piece to feel like you want to bring home. I get it.
Yeah. I'll fix it. It'll be fine.
That's awesome. Also, would you go on tour with the cast?
No, I'm kidding. Of course I would. Of course I would.
And as a follow-up, a lot of people want to know, does that seem like it might happen in a post-COVID world? Are there talks of that happening? All right, all right.
Uh, I think from the very get-go, the idea of being able to go on tour and see the fans has always been one of our biggest priorities. And I think as soon as we were given the opportunity to be able to do that, I can't imagine any of us not taking it.
Well said. Okay.
Was that the most political answer you've ever heard in your
I
life?
think you're basically saying stay tuned. So
Stay tuned. Yeah.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned and tell your friends. Yeah.
You know, speaking of the fans, I mean, they just gravitated towards this show, and I feel like it's spread like wildfire globally, right? So, what do you think it is about Julie and the Phantoms that attracted such widespread fandom in such a big way?
That's good. I think it has a little bit of everything that everybody wants.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's got drama, it's got a lot of comedy, it has a lot of heart, it's got friends, it has so much diversity, it's got musicals. I mean, it's got magic, well, magic, you know, whatever we call that, fantasy, sort of fantasy. What do you call that?
Special effects.
It's not sci-fi.
It's like, I don't know. What do you call that? Come on, you're the pro.
Ghostiness.
All
like,
right.
you know, there's something everybody's gonna love in it. So, I think that's why it's so big, and it also has that, you know, Kenny Ortega magic that everybody connects with.
Yeah.
Everybody misses from their childhood. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And the season ends with, you know, a few different cliffhangers, and I'm not going to say them in case people have not watched the season finale yet. But without giving anything away, what was your reaction with how the show wrapped up? Were you happy with how the show wrapped up?
I was happy. It's funny too because you don't get. We filmed so much separate because Charlie, Jer, and we were all adults when we were filming, and you know, Sasha, Maddie, they were all, you know, younger. So everything that they filmed, they kind of filmed separately before we got in. You know, we were called at 5:30 and waited around for 7 hours, and then slowly got around to our scenes and filmed until like 11 o'clock at night because we're the adults and we can be there forever. So sometimes when you're studying the script, but you're studying your scene, you forget about the other stuff.
Right.
So when I was laying in bed sick when the show came out, and when I watched it, I forgot what had happened. And I was watching it like a fan for the first time, and I was like, what? No way. Awesome. You know what I mean? And I was like, how are they going to do this next season? Like, who's going to play who? I was honestly curious of, like, is like, how is that going to work? Is Cheyenne going to, like, dub his voice? Like, I didn't even know how it was going to work. But I'm excited to see what happens. I don't even know.
What's something you want to see happen with your character?
I want to see, like, genuinely not knowing anything. I want to see more Alex and Willie. And I think it would be funny if there was maybe, like, another guy that got into the middle of the relationship.
Ooh.
And I think that would be kind of interesting to see and what play out. That's kind of what I would want, honestly.
All right. You never know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And you know, your character is so great. He touches a lot of people. What's something you've learned through playing Alex?
I've never gotten that question ever.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Learn through playing Alex. Well, something I've learned, but not because there's kind of a couple things. I mean, first of all, getting the smallest fraction of a taste of the tiniest bit of playing a character like Alex and the hardship he's been, it's like kind of, you know, and hearing almost Alex's, a lot of it was built, you know, through Kenny and what he wanted, you know, gives you 10 times, it adds on to the respect, you know, of the hardships of someone like Alex and a young guy like that. But on top of it, that dance number with Carrie, I was so excited for the show because there was no dancing. There was no dancing involved at all. It was singing, it was playing the drums, and it was acting. The three of my favorite things to do of all time. And then Kenny came to me and he was like, dance number with Carrie. And I was like, what does that mean? and you can't tell Kenny Ortega no. Like, you can't look at him and be like, I'm not doing it. You say, yes, sir, and then you go do it. And he taught me to be fearless, man. Like, I mean, going up on that stage in front of 70 background and 50 crew members and dancing my heart out, and you have to commit. You have to commit, otherwise you look ridiculous. It was one of my favorite moments of filming overall, and it also helped me kind of break a bubble of like, don't be so in your head, which is part of my anxiety, but it really did help me kind of free up and gave me a lot of freedom for shooting the rest of the series.
That's awesome. That's something you'll keep with you the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah. Thanks to Kenny.
Yeah. Rock on. I love that. Before I let you go, there were a few other fan questions. Now, these, I wanted to pick some that were not show related. So I found the most popular non-show, Owen personality related questions. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm
all right.
Ready.
Guilty pleasure TV show.
My friends watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I love it. I can't stop watching it. I love it. My sister makes me watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Can't get over The Bachelorette this season. It's driving me crazy. You don't watch it. I can tell you don't.
Well, I watch The Housewives. That's like, so when my husband leaves and travels for work, that's like, I put that on. It's
The
riveting.
Housewives. I can't get enough of it.
It's riveting.
It's so good, and I want their lives. Anyway, it's Beverly Hills. It's their Housewives. That's mine.
That's awesome. I get it. It's addictive. Musical. Favorite musical?
That's an impossible question.
Top 3.
That's impossible. The first musical that got me into liking musicals was Jersey Boys, but
I love Jersey. I'm a Jersey boy, so I love Jersey Boys.
It's great. But then once you start watching other musicals, what am I doing? In the Heights is in top 3 for sure. In the Heights is top 3, and I don't even know. What would I listen to on repeat all the time? I liked Mean Girls. I watched Mean Girls. I really liked Mean Girls, but that's not like my top 3. Do you see what you did?
I know. Now you're thinking about them all.
I'm going back and forth. Is In the Heights good enough? It's top 3. In the Heights is top 3.
Nice. And the movie's coming, I guess, next year.
Next year, yeah. Anthony Ramos. It's going to be good.
Yeah. The music's, it's incredible music. I love that. Go-to karaoke song.
Go-to karaoke song. I Feel Like a Woman.
Nice.
Yeah.
You just belt it out?
It's my go-to. It's not a go-to. It's more of like a little like trio thing between me, Charlie, and Jer.
Nice.
So when I'm with them, it's I Feel Like a Woman. We each take different lines. It's a whole thing.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I got a lot of requests asking if you could say one of your famous words that you say in the series.
Okay. That was it.
Oh, that was it?
That was it. The fans will get it.
All right.
There's a whole subreddit on me it gets every time I say okay. And like I had a thing, they kept sending it to me because every time Reggie would say something stupid or Luke would say something I don't agree with, I would just go, okay, like in a defeating way. And when I was shooting it, I kept doing it because I thought it was always funny. But I figured, they're only going to throw 1 or 2 of these in there. They kept every single one I did.
No way.
Yeah, they did every single one. So I had a fan that I like DM me and be like, hey, by the way, you said okay like 13 times in the show. And I was like, there's only 9 episodes. Yeah.
You might have to trademark that word.
Yeah, I think I will. I'll put it on a t-shirt. I'll put okay on a t-shirt.
Nice. Well, Owen, I know the show came out during this weird year of quarantine, and you haven't really been able to interact with the fans as much as you normally would have, of course. So for everybody tuned in, everybody who's got your back, who's Team Owen, take the floor, man. What do you want to say to all your fans?
Well, first of all, thanks for insane amount of success that I didn't think I would see ever being an actor. It means the world to me, and I would say I've been working a really long time for it, but I'm 20 and I think that would make some people mad. So I've been working hard for a little bit, and I really appreciate it. And I would say, please keep streaming the show. Just, you know what? Between us, even if you're not watching it, just keep it going in the background and keep listening to the music. And I hope you guys keep talking to me because I love talking to you.
And season 2 looks pretty good.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
It's kind of, I'm putting it out there, so you can acknowledge that however you want.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there too. Hey, if anybody from Netflix is watching, I'm still in Oklahoma and I'm still bored. So please renew us. Thank you. Hopefully a season 2.
All right. Fingers crossed. Owen, you are awesome, man. I had so much fun having you on the show today, and I look forward to interviewing you in person hopefully one day soon.
Hopefully. It was nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Be well.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.